So you've started wire wrapping or beading, and you're wondering, what do I do with all this stuff? How do I keep it organized? Well, my wife told me when I first started, you need to get your together. So what I decided to do was try and have some type of method to my madness. And my madness is not necessarily the best thing for everybody. It's just one way to do it. I thought today I might just show you a little bit about how we've organized a little bit of our space. So, first off, let me just say, I'm Jimmy with PJG's Jewelry, and some folks have a huge studio. We've got a large closet space, if you will. So we just try to maximize all the space that we have, and I'll show you a couple of the ideas that we've employed to try and keep things somewhat organized so it doesn't get lost in all of the clutter. You notice as you look in the background here that I have lots of pliers mounted to magnetic strips that are screwed to the wall, and that just makes it real easy for me to reach up and grab a particular tool whenever I need it. Now some folks are not going to like the magnetic strips. Instead, they might want to use a 2x4 and some 1x material. Just drill some holes in it so that you can hold your pliers in these. Real cheap, and you probably have some scrap just lying around. My wife instead likes to use the plexiglass holder. It holds a lot of different sets of pliers, one small space, and again, if you've got some leftover plexiglass, it can be scraps, and maybe some 1x material, just cut a groove in the center, fit the plexiglass in it, and you're good to go. Wherever you actually want to do most of your work, try to have some type of non-slip rubberized surface so that when you drop a bead, when you drop a piece of wire, when you drop a jump ring, that you can easily find it. If it's a dark color, it's probably going to show up against that fairly well. And again, you can go to some of the big box stores and buy what we call drawer liner material, soft padding, and it's fairly cheap, particularly compared to what you might get from some of the jewelry supply houses. So you've figured out exactly where you're going to be working in your closet or bedroom or wherever, and you've got lots of beads or findings. Again, you can go to some of the discount stores and buy small containers and label these. It's not going to show up well for you because these are marked with a Sharpie, but if you make a mistake or you run out of everything, you don't want to keep that same kind of label on here, and you can barely see it from where you are. No, what you can do though is take some denatured alcohol. My wife always tells me that good smells are important, and you can spray this onto a piece of paper towel and very easily get rid of the 8mm listing on this, and you've got a brand new container to use all over again. By the same token, if you want to see what findings you have, these can again be labeled in some type of parts organizer. Some folks actually use fishing tackle boxes for this, and they work really well. You might have an old one left over, lying around in the garage. Clean it out, clean it up, and use it. And what about all the wire? Gosh, when you start getting wire, particularly if it's rolled, then on a spool, you're going to have to do something with it. I just took a piece of scrap plywood, put some screws into it, and I can sequentially hang rolls of wire starting from small gauge to large or vice versa, and depending upon what profile shape you have, whether it's square, half round, or anything else. In addition to these boards that might hold the wire, you can also see this parts organizer, and in order to make it usable, you need to be able to tell exactly what is in each of these little drawers. So I've just kind of labeled them. I know real quickly that I have rubber wheels or sand dollars, wolf wax, acid stones, and so on. Another thing I want to mention to you is lighting. It's really important, and I know that particularly if a small space, then you want to have the light shining mostly on your work and not on you. Well, unfortunately, I've got LED light directly above me, and if I look up it is kind of bright, but fortunately it runs long ways, so it's coming right across my workspace and I don't get many shadows here. Something else I might mention to you though is that when we do things over and over again, whether it's making a ring or a bracelet, wrapping, we have to have charts sometimes to understand exactly how much wire it's going to take or how long a particular ring shank needs to be. And I use charts and I make those readily available so that I can tell exactly how much wire I might need. So make yourself a chart. You might even want to have it laminated because you're going to have fingerprints all over it and it'll ultimately get messed up. But make those really accessible for yourself. Still, one more idea is that because not all of your wire is going to be spooled, sometimes it's going to be coiled. And my mentor, Gene, gave me the perfect idea. He went to one of the office supply stores and bought a portable file folder, and you can see real clearly that things are organized based on what type of metal, sterling, what its profile is, what size it is, and what hardness it is. It makes it so quick to go through and pick out a particular size, type, and profile of wire for your use. And finally, when you start getting things together, you want to be able to keep your finished product organized. So you might even go online and you can go to some of the online bidding websites and buy display cases just to keep your things together and organized. And it's really impressive when folks come into your studio, aka closet, to see exactly what you have. So bottom line, I hope that some of these ideas will help you get things together, because my wife told me, you need to get your together, guy. Bye.